Well, I haven't done one of these in God knows how long, and the last time I did a music review, it was nearly 2 years ago. And it is no longer accessible to the public, nor would I make it accessible even if I could, because, well, it was dog shit. Actually, dog shit is too dignified for that video. Even just plain shit is too dignified for that video. And that's saying something. And after that, I really never touched music reviews again. Despite me last year having the desire to do said type of reviews, I just didn't feel comfortable doing them. Until now. Hey, where's the fucking static? Come on, man, it was supposed to hit like a man. What's up, Decepticons? Megatron DBZ here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Algorythm, the third studio album of Beyond Creation, a technical death metal band out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. First formed in 2005, with their first studio album, The Aura, being released 6 years after their formation in 2011. So, with introductions out of the way, let's start off with the album's intro track, Disenthrall. Disenthrall is an instrumental track that runs for approximately 1 minute and 43 seconds, and overall, it's a great opener for the album. The way it starts out with just low horns and what I believe is a violin, and then adding percussion and other layers of horns on top of that really helps build up tension, and overall has an intense feel to it, as though a massive army is approaching. Next up is the first track, Entre Suffrage et Mirage. Yeah, I know I probably butchered the pronunciation of that title. Fucking French bastards. Anyway, all jokes aside, this is a great way to start off the album. The track has a considerable amount of intensity and energy, and even has a drum solo halfway through the song. Well, shit. And here I thought this song couldn't get any better. Entre Suffrage et Mirage is sung entirely in French, and when translated, I must say, Simon Girard, the vocalist of Beyond Creation's writing, is something else indeed. Lyrics that even seem to touch on concepts like life and the evolution of humanity. And to be fair, when you have a title that directly translates to Between Suffrage and Mirage, you'd kind of expect to encounter topics like that. Overall, a great track and probably my favorite on the album. Moving onwards, we have the second track, Surface as Echoes, which starts off with a simple guitar melody, and I'm honestly surprised with how well it transitions into the rest of the song. Halfway through the song there's a guitar solo, and despite the increase in speed it brings with it, it doesn't in any way disrupt the flow of the song as a whole. To be fair, if someone were to manage to make a guitar solo that fucking jarring compared to the rest of the song, I'd probably question whether they were brain dead or not. Anyway, much like the previous track, the lyrical content of this song is rooted in concepts like life, creation, and death. The main difference being that this song is sung in English. Much like before, great track overall. Now on to the third track, Ethereal Kingdom. And just like the previous two tracks, it's a damn good song. It starts off much like the previous track, Surface as Echoes, with an instrumental intro. However, here it's more drawn out, which truly helps the intro in the long run, given that there's more time to build up tension. This track definitely manages to showcase the technical ability of the band, with the song changing speed and tempo quite a few times. And then there's the lyrical concept of the song, which focuses on the concept of time, the future, and how despite our measures to predict it, it always manages to elude us. Again, much like before, good track overall. Next up is the album's title track, Algorythm. This track is the longest on the album, with it being 7 minutes and 39 seconds long. It's definitely one of the more complex songs on this record, with it transitioning from the heavier first portion of the song to a more mellow middle portion, which even includes a guitar solo, and then transitioning back to a heavier sound. In terms of its lyrical content, this song continues the themes present in the entirety of this album, such as time, life, and existence, so there isn't really that much new to talk about with this song's lyrics. What else can I say? It's just another really good track off this album. After this, there's another instrumental track, titled A travers le temps et l'oubli. Okay, that time I definitely butchered the pronunciation. Anyway, song's okay, nothing else really to say about it, it's just a meh track. Well then, guess I'm gonna have to eat my words. After that short instrumental track comes In Adversity, and holy shit! It's probably the heaviest song on the album. Just from the first few seconds of the intro alone, it has an insane amount of intensity, which is always something that tends to grab me. The track that follows, The Inversion, is a 7-minute track that manages to maintain a similar amount of intensity to that of the previous track, and it doesn't hurt to have a badass guitar solo as well. Hell, even the slower parts of this song don't hurt the aforementioned intensity and heaviness of this song. To be fair though, that hasn't happened once on the album so far, so why would it happen here? Its lyrical content contains the previous themes I mentioned on this album, so there isn't really that much to highlight here. However, there is a line that seems to be specifically talking about the topic of reincarnation, so there's that. What else can I say? It's another great track from this so far great album. Following this is Binomial Structures, yet another instrumental track on this record, and it's the best one by far. It has a much more melodic feel to it than the rest of the songs off this record. Not to say there aren't melodic elements present in other songs off this album, just that on this track, said elements are far more noticeable. It's a much more laid-back track when compared to the other songs off this record, and it truly helps that it's towards the end of the album, seeing that I believe that the end of the record is the most fit for songs of this nature. Definitely another highlight off this record. Finally, there is the closing track, The Afterlife. Kind of fitting for an album of this nature. The slower pace of the intro really works, given the track that just came before it, especially since just going from a more laid-back track to a much more abrasive track can be quite jarring. Once this track gets into its heavier portions, it pretty much goes all out. Hell, even the ending portion of the song is heavy as all hell, and definitely serves the purpose of closing off the album. It is an amazingly complex song, and it's without a doubt one of the many highlights off of this album. All in all, this song is a great way to close off what I consider a phenomenal album. To summarize, Algorythm is absolutely astonishing, with great productions, good drum beats, complex guitar playing, and great songwriting. If you are a fan of technical death metal, or even just regular death metal, I highly recommend purchasing this album. It is an absolute masterpiece. Overall, I give this album a 9.5 out of 10. It isn't perfect, but it's fucking amazing. Every time I would listen to a song, and at some point feel as though it did not stand out, almost immediately after the thought would enter my head, practically every single track on this record that I initially didn't see that much in would prove me dead wrong. Even though I don't believe that any of the tracks off this record are in any way, shape, or form bad, if I had to rank the songs on this album from best to worst, it would go Entre Suffrage et Mirage, The Afterlife, Ethereal Kingdom, In Adversity, Algorithm, Binomial Structures, The Inversion, Disenthrall, Surfaces Echoes, and A Travers les Temps et l'Oubli. It is a genuinely outstanding record, and seeing that this is the first Beyond Creation record I've fully listened to, I definitely need to listen to their other two albums. Anyway, that's it for the first installment of the Decepticon review. I'm Megatron DBZ saying peace out, Decepticons.